we are doing a bit of a live to talk Kawhi Leonard being ruled out against the Nuggets. The team tweeted out, weirdly, a little early for the 7 p.m. game that Kawhi Leonard has been ruled out with knee soreness against Denver. Joshua Primo also out, for those of you wondering about such things. Adam Oz is going to join in a sec. I'm Chuck Mockler. This sucks pretty hard. I don't know if we're going to do this as a podcast episode, so maybe we're just going to be fucking around on the live. What's up, Data Man? He says, WTF. Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for sure. I feel like an idiot. I went on Bleacher Report app this morning and was like, I think he's just ruled out because they want an extra day of rest before this 5-7 starts. Not to pile on, but the Clippers do have a 5-7 starting today. They play the Nuggets, and then they play the Jazz, and then they play the Cavs, I believe. And then the Suns, and then the Suns. So this isn't ideal. JBows84 saying, how worried should we be? I don't know. I feel pretty not good right now. This is, again, pretty live. I'm trying to find the Law Murray quotes from Ty about the knee. Also support your local beat writers. Shout out to Law Murray. Fantastic beat reporter. Someone's asking, is there a chance he's out for the playoffs? I don't think we need to go there yet. Let's not, Douglas. let's not totally lose it at that level yet. I understand feeling. But yeah, I don't think we should be worried about that for the playoffs. So here is the timeline for this. Is yesterday Ty Lue said that the knee issue came up Sunday in Charlotte. So it's been a handful of days. Totally agree, J-Bos. So it's been a handful of days. So it reared up. It came up in Charlotte, assuming that it happened in game. I apologize, Carlos. I wish I could do this whole thing in Spanish, but I can't. I can do a very small part of it, and it will not be very good. So I'm going to stick to English right now. Lo siento. It came up on Sunday. Have to assume it happened during the game. And he was ruled out. And I think it was, it's not crazy. It was going to be on 3 days rest. But again, they're on a 5-7. So that doesn't really feel good. Level of concern right now, I don't know, 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. Adam or Will's going to hop on at some point. Here's Wilbert Beltran, who I think's been in the last couple streams. What's up, Wilbert? He said, this seems like maintenance and preventative. I think we should sit James and PG this game also, especially games. I don't. Maybe James should get some rest. James looks exhausted. The shoulder doesn't seem like it's totally right. He just doesn't look like himself. He's got the finger jam issue, but there's larger issues at play right now with James Harden. He looks very tired. No disrespect. He's eaten minutes for this Clippers team. I would like this idea more if the Clippers had any semblance of playing well, right? Like it's not like the Clippers are in the midst of a stretch where we know that they're showing good process from start to finish. And if they lose this game poorly, it's just kind of because whatever, the Nuggets are good. We have nothing to really be super encouraged about. Like if they sit James Harden and PG, this game means absolutely nothing. And the Clippers need it to mean something, right? Like we need to see some level of championship play. It would have been great to see it fully squatted up against this Nuggets team, but we're out Kawhi. So I don't think the Clippers can afford to just completely punt this game. They have other games they might punt before the end of this season. They play the Cavs. They play the Rockets at 12:30, the last game of the season. I don't think that game is going to be incredibly that's not going to be super competitive. They have 2 games against the Suns. That's nice. That's real games. The game before the Nuggets or the game before the Rockets is the Jazz. Like, the Clippers can't afford to just like sit these guys. And I'm not attacking you personally, Wilbert. I understand this is not a bad idea. James needs rest. But the Clippers just don't have good enough process to afford to just kick this game, right? Like, they need to look good against good teams, which they did for a little bit against Orlando for sure. We had the Kawhi takeover. But they haven't looked start to finish good against a good team in a while, which is disappointing. I'm usually more positive than this. But it hasn't been very good. So yeah, it's a lot. So this is the weird part. No, I can't. But whatever. That's where we are. They took care of business earlier in the regular season, and now I don't know. We're feeling maybe the effects of. While it's nice getting so much time from Kawhi and PG, Kawhi specifically in this one. Again, if you're just joining the stream, Kawhi Leonard ruled out for the Clippers game against the Nuggets tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. They were supposed to give away stress balls at this game, and they moved that to a different game. Bring them back. Give away the stress balls tomorrow. We need it. We need the stress balls. Will and Adam and I are also going to be at the game tomorrow. If you're not sobbing because of how the Clippers look without Kawhi, come say what's up. I'm not putting the comment up, but someone is saying that we should trade Kawhi for picks. Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I hope this is maintenance. I'm going to bring the Wilbert take back up. I hope this is maintenance or preventative. Like, we're not going to get any answers is the other part. I want to maybe level set on what people are going to ask about by people, I mean fans, because we're not reporters. We kind of cover the team. Hey, Junction. Hi, Chuck. We cover the team, but we're not, beat reporters or anything like that. So we don't want to step on any toes for questions. But like, people on Twitter, Clippers fans are going to be asking, how long is Kawhi going to be out? What's the extent of the injury? Again, we're not going to get any answers. And just like that, one of the other hosts of this fantastic program, Adam Oslin, is here joining the show. Adam, what's up, bud? Did you just get back from the gym? I don't know if Adam can hear me, which is very funny.
I got you, Chuck. You got me?
Yeah. Were you just at the gym?
I was.
Okay.
Sorry.
No
didn't get
problem.
the news. I saw you guys texting. I saw a whelp in the chat log, and I heard something about Norman Powell starting, and I was like, uh-oh. Joey Lynn was the first tweet I saw about it.
How are you? What's your level of concern?
Huge.
Immediately. Instantly huge.
It's his right knee. That was the first thing I texted when I heard he was going to be out last game. It's not just the ACL there. It's the meniscus, and it's the tendinopathy.
Yeah.
That is where he's had all his issues. So how can you not be fully concerned? Their playoff hopes, championship hopes are hinged and hanging on to Kawhi Leonard and his health in that right knee. I don't want this era to be defined just by injuries with this Clippers team. That's what scares me. Now, we don't want to speculate. We haven't heard if there was an MRI or anything like that, right?
No. So that's what I was kind of saying. I was kind of level setting like expectations. Like, the questions are going to be, how long is he going to be out? They're not going to tell us. I think we'll probably learn about MRI stuff. My guess would be pregame tomorrow.
Get the extent of it from Coach Lou then.
As much as we can.
If it's anything more, Lawrence Frank, but hopefully not.
I don't want the Lawrence Frank impromptu presser again. Was that this year or last year that happened, where Lawrence Frank was just like, hey, I'm talking.
I think it was last year.
Yeah, I don't want that.
The meniscus.
Yeah.
He's been moving so well. Just the last
Right.
couple of games, we were just talking about how much more pop it looked like he had. In the high five, we were talking about the blow by he had on Miles Bridges. He had to come back in that fourth quarter because the Clippers let go of a 19-point lead early on in the fourth against Charlotte. It's just brutal right now, Clipper Nation. We feel your pain. That's why we're here doing the live.
Yeah, it sucks. I was saying they need to bring the stress ball giveaway back tomorrow. They moved that to a Suns game. Wait, here's an idea. Here's a tinfoil hat theory.
You're not more stressed during a Pac-Div game, Chuck?
Oh well, look, you can't compare apples to oranges here. That's a different kind of stress, Adam. Fair question.
That ball's like at Epcot Center size.
Yeah, I'm hugging that thing. When did they decide to move the giveaway? We got to figure that out.
I have no idea.
Shanina Shake says, "Are you kidding me?" No, we're not. I wish we were kidding. I wish this tweet was 2 days ago, and then they hit us with an April Fool's. But alas, it is April 3rd.
I heard...
Perhaps Fool's Day for all us Clippers fans.
The hope is it's knee soreness in the sense that it was with Paul George, that eventually he worked through and he's on the other side of it now, and you can see the difference. But we're talking about the playoffs starting the first round, 4/20? I think that's actually the date. I'm not making a joke.
It literally is the date.
Yeah. So is that just over 2.5 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
17 days.
I kept talking about how, the off time between the end of the regular season and the 5 or 6 days before the first round starts could do wonders for this team. Obviously, now they need that more than ever. You can't fall into the play-in because you need that time to rest these guys. But they need to hold on to the 4 spot still.
And they need to play well. Someone was saying earlier, Mikey Ramirez was saying, should they sit PG? Someone suggested sitting PG and Harden and just punting this game. But we don't have good process to go off of, so I don't think the Clippers can just chalk this game up as an automatic L. Like
you
right now,
punt this game.
You can't. We're not playing well enough to be like, here's a piece from 4 games ago. Like, here's this 4-game block in the last 20 games where we loved how we looked. We don't have that to build off of if we just let this one go.
Well, look, if there's a game you want to rest, guys, it's Friday against Utah, and you should still be able to find a way to win that. That would be the goal in my mind, because again, you're not just trying to beat the Denver Nuggets to recapture some of that magic they had during the 26-5 stretch where they did beat Denver fully loaded. You need to beat Denver to send them down into the 2-3 spot in the West. So you don't, if you're lucky enough to get past the first round, have to deal with them in the second round. I know that's looking ahead a little bit, but it's a big part of the equation, I think. Path of least resistance matters. And they're hanging on to the number 1 seed. They're up a half game right now because they have played one more game than OKC and Minnesota. They don't have the tiebreaker against OKC. It's very possible that they could be in that 2-3. And you can help that happen with a win tomorrow. If they don't have Jamal Murray playing tomorrow, who's been out, I mean, they were in a close one against the San Antonio Spurs last night.
Yeah,
even with Nikola Jokic having, 40 and 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a huge game still.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to prove they're 3-4 right now without Kawhi Leonard. And it's more so just the eye test of how they have looked in those games without him, where their principles just fall by the wayside, where they don't play well defensively at all. Because as bad as they have been on the defensive end, since the Grammy road trip, we've been talking about it ad nauseum, but that's really the line of demarcation where things change for this Clippers team. February 6th is when they came back from the road trip. They're 28th defensively since then, and they're really 28th in their last 32 games. I ran the numbers on that earlier today, but if we just go off the Grammy road trip, where their last 26 games are 13-13, their defensive rating is about 118 over that time. Now, if you check out the difference Kawhi Leonard makes in the on-off numbers to their defense and how much better they are just when he has been on the court. On the court, they go from being basically 120 the last couple of months to 111 with him on the court, at least on the season. So they're much better with Kawhi Leonard out there, but the personnel's still good enough. It's not just that Kawhi Leonard is this defensive savant, which he is. There's something more going on.
They forget how to play basketball when he's not out there. We heard the same thing from Ty yesterday post game, specifically about the offensive rebounds. He's like, guys weren't cracking back when Zoo was challenging or going for a block. And like Kawhi does those things. And then it's just so much worse when he's off.
I couldn't stand the fact that yesterday, I was saying it before I heard that from Coach Lou post game. That was me in the opening segment saying, like, guys, the least you can do when you let your man go by you so Zoo has to make up for it at the rim and go to block that shot is to then help him out and box his man out afterwards. That's the least you can do. And they weren't even doing that and haven't been doing that. That's really disheartening to see from this Clippers team right now. I'm trying to get an update now on Jamal Murray and see where he's at. Now, he's had a knee injury too. I don't know if it's listed as knee soreness. Do we have two players in this game that could be missing it for the same reason? And I don't know if it's his ACL knee. That's just what concerns me more when I hear it's his right knee with Kawhi.
Someone in the comments is saying, do you think it's super serious or are they just playing it safe? I think the fact that it's in the right knee is a very fair thing to be worried about because it's the same knee.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know because it could just be wear and tear, knee soreness. He hasn't played
wear and tear.
He hasn't played this many games. It could just be a taxing long regular season where he hasn't played this many games since 2016, 2017 with the San Antonio Spurs and him just feeling a little bit worn down.
Jamal Murray is questionable. So not out, but
I bet they keep him out now if they know Kawhi Leonard's out. Why would they press things?
Right, yeah. They
have a handful of games left too.
They can. I mean, there's no reason to exactly fear the Clippers without Kawhi right now.
There's not, and they need to change that.
Right.
Well, obviously, if you don't have Kawhi Leonard in a playoff run, you're not winning the championship anyways.
Correct.
They still need to show that your identity can remain even when you're missing one player. That's typically how you get by. That's how it was in past years, where they didn't have Kawhi for the entire season, where they had Paul George for 31 games in the 21-22 season, and they still ended up, I think, 8th defensively. That was their identity, stepping up, being a tough-minded defensive team, and coming up with big comebacks and clutch moments. That's who they were. Regardless of who was out there, the whole was greater than the sum of its parts. Now it seems like the other way around.
It's just fractured.
Or for whatever reason, the more talented Clippers team, but that talent isn't coalescing and coming together, and at least the last 2 months, making up for, the fact that one guy's out. If you have Paul George, if you have James Harden, if you have Russ coming off the bench, you should be better than this. That Sacramento Kings team was missing two of their, not big, maybe one of their big three, but they were missing, two guys, ancillary, huge role players in Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk.
Yeah.
And what they did or what they do, their makeup still remained. It was still there. You could see it last night. The way they play was still evident that was Kings basketball. Mm-hmm. That needs to happen for the Clippers.
Yeah, I tweeted it out from the show account. Like, are we going to get the how do we play basketball Clippers or the backs against our wall Clippers? And I hate that I have to even ask the question this late in the season is what's a little frustrating. Greggy with a great point here. Jamal is playing as the player list question will ever miss the game against the Clippers. Very good point, Greggy. Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't feel good right now at all.
Well, this was the test of whether or not it was just getting Kawhi Leonard a little bit more rest because there's a 5 and 7 coming up. It's late in the season. Things are looking pretty good for you being the 4 seed. They're 2 games up, but really 3 games up because they have a tiebreaker over Dallas.
Yeah.
And maybe they were just getting him a little bit of rest against Sacramento. But because of the importance of the Denver Nuggets game for multiple reasons, this was the test of seeing, oh, was it something more than just giving him a little bit of rest? That's where the concern, I think, comes in, because some people wrote this off as load management. Some people wrote this off as just, yeah, it's Kawhi's turn to get a break, just like it was against the Golden State Warriors right before the All-Star break.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are clinging to the rest idea that they're just resting Kawhi, but
I mean,
they have a 5 and 7. Like they don't, again, there's no precedent that they're gonna, like, they can build on right now.
It's very possible it's still not some huge issue with the knee, and they do just need to get him rest. Nuggets be damned. I just look at that game as being significant because it's a team the Clippers have had issues against, and it's a way to build confidence down the stretch heading into the playoffs. If they could get a win against Denver, it would completely make up for what happened against the Sacramento Kings the other night. You beat the Denver Nuggets, you're more than happy.
I feel great. Yeah.
You would have won 4 or 5.
Yeah. Absent Regard says Tucker will guard Jokic for stretches tomorrow. Adam's dream becoming a reality.
Never said it was my dream. Son of a bitch.
I don't. Yeah, so that's the backup center rotation. We don't know what, like the lineups. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs. Ray Smarlin said, I don't know if you guys mentioned it, but Windhorse hinted on his podcast that it was serious enough for him to have to fly back to LA to get it examined.
Well, that's just a fact that he flew back to LA. We don't know if he got it examined, but we know he got treatment. That's what they came out with.
I believe the quote from Ty was "better treatment," was what he said. If you really want, but I'm not getting into the minutia with that.
When it's a 45-minute flight, I didn't put a ton into that.
Right. Yeah, he's not going.
I'm not reading a lot into that.
He's not going. He's not having to. Yeah, there's no layovers on the flight that he's doing to get it.
Right, and you have a homestand coming up. There's one more game There's one more game on the road in Phoenix. That's it. That's the last 7. And you would think that would be very encouraging, but of course they lost their last 5 games at home. I still don't buy into that. Maybe we're a better road team. We should start on the road. And Coach Lou did say that in one of his post-game pressers recently. Maybe we should start on the road, but I think he was just in a sour mood after a rough loss. That was after what happened last weekend, I believe, with the back-to-back losses at home.
Yeah, he has been in a sour mood, rightfully so.
Yeah.
The past couple weeks, which sucks.
He definitely seemed more upbeat and encouraged by some things last night post-game. I was a little bit surprised by. He thought they did play some good defense here and there, and then the floodgates eventually broke. But you look at the numbers in that game against the Sacramento Kings without Kawhi Leonard granted, and they're tied at 24 at the end of a tough shooting first quarter for everybody. But by the end of it, the Kings were 12 for 42. I think there was something like 11 for 33 from 3 heading into that fourth quarter. They weren't shooting it great. It was just they were getting extra opportunities. They got up 16 more shots than the Clippers because of all the offensive rebounds where the Clippers gave up 20. So it wasn't like they weren't getting a stop initially. They were. They weren't closing out and ending the possession by getting a board.
Yeah. And I like what you said. It's not like they weren't playing, like, for a part of it, I think it was the first half, you said, like, it's not that they're playing that hard. They're not playing smart, which when you look at the turnovers is, I think, a nice indicator. It was, yeah.
Some of those I want to attribute to mental fatigue. Some of the ones, James Harden having 5 turnovers to 8 assists when he just had a 10 assist to 0 turnover game. Some of the turnovers with Russ having 3 of them in the third quarter were brutal, where he's just flying down the lane and throwing it away to the defense, looking for Paul George. Even Norm having a really bad one in the third quarter. some of those could have been mental fatigue, 1 foot out the door. It's the final game of the road trip. I don't want to explain it away like that and make excuses for them, but it does happen here and there to everyone. And the Clippers have been better overall. I think they just had 8 turnovers. That's it against the Charlotte Hornets in that contest before. You can say it's the Hornets, but for the most part this season, especially,
I'll take any good process at this point. I don't care who it's against us late in the season. We need to look good.
The Celtics barely beat them the very next night when they had the Hornets on a back-to-back.
Yeah.
So do their fans do the same thing and say that's not a very good victory and we should have won with more style points? When you look into the details of everybody else, there are flawed wins or scheduled type of losses by every team in the league when you get into the nitty-gritty and look at their schedule on a granular level like you do with the Clippers. But because we're more focused on them, we tend to be much more critical, of course.
Yeah. I like this idea that Coffee, I don't know, maybe I don't like this idea. Coffee should start over Norm tomorrow. Norm tomorrow, if Jamal Murray is playing, the defense, I predict maybe a double-digit deficit in the first quarter.
Coffee had a really rough game against Sacramento also, by the way. As I thought the last 3 games before that, he'd been turning a corner a little bit. And Amir was bad on both ends. 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from the outside. He led them in the plus-minus, was a minus 18 out there. Had just 1 made shot. It was a 3-pointer, but his defense wasn't very good. I thought Terrence Mann had some pretty good defense at times on De'Aaron Fox and really took the challenge. He got mad at himself when Fox got that little fall away in the paint where he thought he had it defended every which way. And, of course, he's De'Aaron Fox. That's what he can do. But if Jamal Murray is playing, I could definitely see that. You lean into defense then. And Amir Coffey has been starting games whenever, at least at times when Kawhi has been out and definitely when Paul George has been out this season.
Yeah. Amir is just, I don't know. He's up and down. He's got the size, though, but the wingspan's not really there. It's a wonky roster right now, which people are being upset about.
I'm seeing people say, like, I told you we should have got that athletic power forward. Cool. How did they do it? Who's the guy? It's very easy to say that without any specifics or any bit of realistic possibility in there of a team that's actually willing to give one up for what with the Clippers? You want to give away their last first-round pick until 2030, till 2031, I guess, because it would be the 2030 pick.
Man, people are also the arena opening next year with how this year is ending is tense. If I were the person opening the arena, I would say things do not seem to be trending how I wanted them to.
Well,
the arena opens.
The season is still yet to be defined.
Yes.
Right? What happens in the playoffs is ultimately how people are going to look back on this season and remember it.
Sure.
Could still go one of 2 ways. This rut that they've been in.
And the contracts, whatever happens with PG and Harden's contracts.
Yeah, but I just mean on the court, is anyone going to remember what has happened in the defensive numbers the last 2 months if they get to the Western Conference Finals? Is anybody going to be talking about that? No. You're going to zero in on that.
Record. Yeah.
You will be, and that's fair. But that's your baby.
Yeah. Ray Smarlin, I love this take. If there actually is a switch tomorrow against the Nuggets, would be a tremendous time to flip it. Just flip the switch early. What did Will say? If the switch is so easy to flip, let's flip the switch a little early. There's not that much time left before the playoffs. I don't think PG's playing every game from here on out. I bet guys sit that last game, the 12:30 game. But let's flip it. Everyone else flip the switch. Kawhi has shown you how to do it. Let's do it.
It's just hard to replicate postseason basketball in the regular season. It's just very difficult. But no, you're right. If it's that easy, if it's just about desire, if it's about effort, if it's about a mindset, Why not just get there now?
Flip it.
Why wait? Things already are getting dire. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Flip the switch.
Flip the switch.
And really, you know, on our last show, we were talking about our biggest concerns. And I mentioned James Harden and his play and just how he looks out there. And he goes 1 for 7 against the Kings and had those 5 turnovers to 8 assists. I was going to say, I'm more concerned about that, but obviously now I'm thinking about Kawhi Leonard and the right knee. But in terms of things that could change tomorrow, they need a great James Harden game. They need Paul George to take more than 12 shots. I know he didn't play in the fourth quarter, but 12 shots is still not enough. Come out firing. If you're going to lose without Kawhi Leonard, at least play the right way, please.
Yeah,
That's
I like
what
that.
Clipper Nation is looking for.
That's a great call. Good process. We just want good process. We need good process right now.
They've built up too many bad habits. Can you
100%.
undo them in time with 7 games left? I think you can have a spirited victory in the fashion the Clippers have in past seasons, and that can rally you and galvanize you down the stretch and be meaningful. That's the opportunity that is in front of them, taking on the Denver Nuggets. Even if Jamal Murray's not playing, if you take them down without Kawhi Leonard,
I'm putting a feather in my cap. I will put a feather in my cap for that.
That's a great victory. If you get your first win at home in 3 weeks, a month? How long has it been since they last won a home game now? Since they've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Give the fans something to hold on to and something to cheer about. I've heard people criticize, some of it's on the Clippers fans, but they haven't been playing good ball at home. Okay, so the last 2 were obviously Indiana and Philadelphia. Before that, it was the bad loss to Atlanta. Before that, they came up small against Minnesota. Before that, it was Milwaukee. So there's your last 5 losses. So the last win at home, and that Milwaukee game was without Kawhi, without Paul George. The last win at home came against Chicago the day before. That was on March 9th. Yeah. It has almost been a month since they won a game at home. It's time.
I'm excited to be in the building. Yeah. Please dig deep. Don't come out and give up 60 points in transition and 22 extra field goal attempts to the Nuggets. Because part of me thinks that might happen tomorrow.
It's been the same issues. James Harden last night was talking about them giving up extra opportunities. The defense, when he was asked last night about what's the one thing, I think this was a question from Ohm, that you like to see return from what they had during the 26-5 stretch in 31 games. And he said defense. I think it could come down to just their defense being what sparks their offense and gets them easier shots. And it all starts there. And they're good enough still without Kawhi Leonard to play much better defense than what we've seen over the last 2 months for the most part. It has been there at times. Look, against Orlando, there was good defense played. I know Kawhi was there for that.
I agree. I brought that up earlier. I was like, Orlando, was there some pieces of the game where you really like?
Stuff to take away from that game, stuff to take away from Philly. They're more than capable, even without Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. Ugh. They are. We know they are. Yesterday, what was the quotes yesterday that made me feel uneasy? Hold on, let me pull it up.
From who?
It was something different from what Lou said and what PG said. So they were asked about like how the road trip went or whatever. And Ty Lue said, great trip, 3-1. Coming out on this trip to go 3-1, I thought it was a really good trip for us. Paul George was asked the same thing. If they learned about their identity and toughness as a team went 3-1 over his trip. This is from Justin Russo's piece. And he said, I'm not sure. It's a question you have to ask Ty Lue of where he thinks we're at this point. I just don't think those two quotes do not sound like two people feeling simpatico about how the team is doing.
Maybe he's a little bit sore over Coach Lou post game saying, ask PG now, ask him about the identity now. I don't know. Obviously, they need to get on the same page. They got to come together. It's a really difficult time for this team after so long of having Kawhi Leonard being so reliable for them all year long and look this good. And now it's the worst case scenario at the moment. We don't know the extent of it, but we just know he's going to be out for this game, and it is the right knee. Come together. Be resilient.
Right now.
Show mental toughness now. This is what they used to do all the time. So, I've mentioned how they built up some bad habits over the years, and that's hard to do away with in one season. Well, this was a good habit. This was something, an area they used to thrive in when the chips were down, this Clippers team.
Yeah.
Finding ways to win ball games when they were counted out.
I hope. All I have is hope. All we have is hope right now. We have no real evidence. We just have hope.
Yeah. The hope is Kawhi Leonard is nothing too serious and that the Clippers find themselves again with this. Did you do that or not?
Yeah, I thought that'd be a funny bit.
Bring some levity here.
Trying to lighten it up a little bit. Things don't feel too good. Work's over, I guess. That's good.
We're all concerned right now, Clipper Nation, of course.
We're all concerned. Not a lot of time to get right for old Kawhi, which is unfortunate.
It's 2.5 weeks about from now until the start of the first round. I don't want to see them starting the first round on the road in Dallas, though. And that is very possible if he misses an extended period of time where now we're talking about, 4 or 5 games here. Right. So far it's been 1. We know it's at least going to be 2. I would, I don't know about what's going to happen Friday night against the Utah Jazz, second night of a back-to-back. Are they really going to bring Kawhi Leonard back for that? But look, we've gotten some scares with him this season. With his wrist.
Yeah.
Let's think about this. With his wrist, with his back injury, and he came back the very next day, and it didn't turn out to be that serious. Paul George and the injury he had last year. Well, yes, it took him out for the season. He didn't have to have surgery. Nothing tore. In that sense, they dodged a little bit of a bullet. I'm not saying the basketball gods have completely been looking out for the Clippers by any stretch of the imagination, but when that happened that night against Lou Dort and the OKC Thunder, I thought that was the end of this era because it looked so bad at the time, the hyperextension with PG-13. In the last 2 months, he's looked like peak Paul George, or last month, I should say in March, he's looked like peak Paul George again. After dealing with his own left knee soreness, after dealing with a groin injury. So prayers up to the basketball gods that Kawhi is just dealing with a little bit of, I'm not going to say the phrase that I said earlier, Chuck, just a little bit of soreness because he's played so much for the first time in almost a damn decade, in 8 years, right? It's different on your body. We were all kind of wondering this season, starting things off, him playing power forward, what that would do. Is it less taxing on your body, not having to guard as many guys around the perimeter and being more stationary, but being more physical in the post, in the restricted area, having to rebound more, having to box out more? I would have said before this that it looks like it was the right move.
I was an idiot. So I did the Bleacher Report stream this morning, and I literally the first note, I did it at 9 a.m. So my first note is, Kawhi missed the game last night due to right knee soreness. I think this is just because of the 5 and 7, and he's going to be back against the Nuggets. Because I liked the move. I praised the move, and now I'm just like, shit. No one watches their app anyway, so I guess that's fine. But
it could very well just be they're not valuing this game against Denver to push things with Kawhi as much as some of us are. And there's some truth to that.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
they're basically 3 games up on the Dallas Mavericks in the 4 spot. Not 1 game, not 2 games, 3 because of the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So maybe they think they do have a little bit more of a cushion here to get Kawhi some much needed rest, and that's all it is. As the cat crossfade happens.
Cat's upset. Yeah. Making sure you're
Well, there's probably some claws on that cat. There's a connection with Kawhi there.
It all
Is it declawed? No. Then there,
No, definitely not.
It's a real ass cat.
Race Marlin with a great take. Maybe the Clippers are just so big brain they're putting horrible tape out just to shock the world in the playoffs. I like that idea.
I don't.
The old Doc Rivers special.
Yeah, 2 months of bad tape.
yeah,
that took themselves out of having a top 3 seed.
Market with bad tape.
Almost. So half the season we've gotten a 500 team. The other half we have gotten a god tier team. Who are they? What's their identity? Something that came up last night with Will and I that I thought was interesting. If I can recount exactly what he said, but it was basically, principles, identity. What do you fall back on when times are hard? And I was even asked on Rogan and Rodney earlier today, what's their identity? I think that was the first question because they brought up Paul George questioning that and James Harden. And I said, to me, it's the same as last season. They've been consistently inconsistent. Not an identity you want to have, but it's the truth, I think. At their best, yes, tough-minded defensive team, explosive offense. We saw it not for a week, not for 2 weeks, not for a month, for 2.5 months. Really. 31 games. Okay, maybe a little over 2 months. It was a significant portion of the season. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
And what I said on a recent podcast here was, well, it seemed like they found the switch to turn things off because things changed drastically so quickly after the Grammy road trip. Can it be that simple to turning it back on?
Flip it right back on.
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one for Clippers fans.
This is a tough one.
I just, I'm sure we'll get more clarity tomorrow on Kawhi and what's going on. If he had an MRI.
The Clippers version of clarity, yes.
More than we have now, for sure. Because I was leaning the same way you were, that this is just season maintenance. That's what Paul George called his left knee injury. It's maintenance. It's what happens during an 82-game season. It could be that for Kawhi. It's just something he hasn't experienced in a while because he hasn't played this many games since 2016, 2017. It's not fair. It sucks. I know. Woe is us. All those bad feelings, PTSD. Clippers gonna Clipper. I know all these things. They're cursed. I don't want to believe any of it. I don't.
You're not a curse guy.
No.
We've had the curse on the pod. It was not right.
What did the Red Sox do to break the curse? What did the Cubs do to break the curse? They didn't have a seance.
Well, after the Cubs won, the world kind of went to shit. If you kind of look at the timeline of after the Cubs won the World Series.
Okay.
Things went real downhill.
Do Cubs fans care about that? No, they got their ring.
Yeah, very true. All right. I think this probably, I don't know how much more we can really dig into this. So I think we just have to leave. And have everyone
just walk away slowly.
Everyone just walk away slowly. Thanks for hanging out, people, and hopping in.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody here on the live. Chuck and I were just texting randomly. I was coming back from the gym. I was like, I can be home in 5. You want to do a quick live here? Because I think people want to at least, I don't know if we've soothed anyone or assuaged any fears.
Maybe we'll do this. This bit was funny. People like this. That probably makes people feel a little bit better.
Just taking me off the screen. It's simple enough.
Wait, now it's just you, so you look like a crazy person. All right, we should get out of here. We hope everyone has a good rest of your night. Here's to good or just not bad, more bad news tomorrow. Knock on wood. If you're going to the game, say what's up. If you see us, we'll be there. Will be there.
I'll be section 111. Come say hi.
They had me in the nicer seats last game.
You deserve it.
I think it's because the Clippers aren't playing very well, so they had some extra media seats. Usually they have.
I refuse to believe that.
Usually they have Will and I freezing in the press box, which we do love.
I expect to see you courtside, right next to the guys on the TNT broadcast. I don't know who it's going to be. Is this a TNT only game? I haven't even checked on that.
Me and Goldstein.
You might be next to Jim Jackson if he's doing the TNT game.
It is the TNT game. Oh, that means there's going to be a Chris Hayes update.
Chrissy Teigen, grimace face. Well, I hope it's a good update.
Oh,
it's a positive update. All right. Yeah. The stakes have been raised in more ways than just winning a game against the Denver Nuggets. Now the concern is about Kawhi Leonard, as it should be. This is everything.
This is everything. We hope everyone has somehow a productive day tomorrow while we wait for this news.
Sleep well.
Sleep well, everybody. Sleep well. That's the new sign up.
If you have any sleep agents.
Well. Yeah. Your melatonin, your promethazine, whatever you use to fall asleep. We're doing a live stream after the game. We were already planning on doing that anyway. So that worked out okay. We're going to be doing a live stream post-game. We're all three going to be on it. It's going to be from the press box. Adam's going to be at his spot in 111. And the vibes will be whatever the Clippers dictate the vibes to be.
Maybe we could just take a picture where, I don't know, we're all kind of holding each other and bracing for the report.
We looked despondent in the last one we took in the press room, so maybe we'll take another one of those.
I love that picture.
All right. We await the Chris Haynes update tomorrow. We hope everyone